Good morning, good morning. Raj, how you doing, brother? Moran. Hey, Marcus. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to tradingsyndicate.org. I'm JJ. And this is where we teach real people how to make real money. Hey, Redcom, how you doing? Aloha, Dano, how are you? Alrighty, let's dig in. Bit of a slow night, but once again, the markets are working as nature intended. Uh, we put in a high yesterday. One thing I'm going to keep going over this rotation thing. Um, we seem to have stalled out yesterday around 69.24.25. Um, but that concept of rotation where we rotate up, rotate back down, rotate back up, that's still in play. The move up, you'll notice, usually when we rotate back up, you get these really quick moves and we're really back up within a day or two. And here it's taking a little bit more time. The concept of time in markets is something that you always want to be looking out for. You know, usually when we do this rotation up and then down, the move back up is pretty quick. This time it's taking a little while, and that's because the larger traders are a little bit more cautious this time. And that's okay, right? Hola, Juan. ¿Qué pasa? So let's see what happens. We hit resistance right where we thought. We had two sets of single prints to the downside, which are two areas of supply. We chewed through the first one, and we stopped dead at the second one. So that's the overhanging supply. Most of it would have gotten flushed out when we went down to 67.80, 88.90 here. Tonight, overnight inventory is long, right? Let's kind of dig in a little bit here. So overnight inventory is long. How can you tell overnight inventory is long tonight? Well, because there's the close of yesterday, and most of the trading is above the close. So it's probably about 80% long. We are looking for a move back down when London opens. But as you can see, the position is underneath us. The point of control yesterday was up here, so there is inventory above us. We're inside yesterday's range. It's kind of business as usual yesterday. We're taking the cheap stuff that we took in yesterday at the end of the day and here, and we're taking that and we're selling it as high as we can. Very normal overnight business, right? That's a common thing. Overnight markets help traders clean up their positions. And what that means is if you're short, you get to cover. If you're long, you can try and get rid of some of that product that you took in because see, when you take down positions, taking down means buying. You spend capital, right? So if you have a short position, you allocate capital to that position. So it's always nice to get some of that capital back, right? Get back into cash. So the overnight sessions, the Globex sessions as they're called, they really help traders clean up what they call a trade blotter or their inventory, right? It's kind of an important thing. Now, sometimes the normal business of the overnight doesn't happen. So that's the market trying to tell you psst, 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 something's a little different. So pay attention to that. But so far tonight, everything's kind of normal business, right? So let's go and see how we're going to trade it. You can see there's the close. There's the overnight position. Now we're taking that and we're selling it. The difference, of course, is profit, right? This is how commerce works, right? It's pretty simple. Now, how do we trade it? We use the 1 minute candle. So now here we have, this is the map of the city, right? And if we want to trade this particular area, we go and zoom into the 1 minute chart, and that's the map of the neighborhood we're in, right? Because you don't want to wander into the hood when you're trading and get jacked, right? Hey Cisco, thanks, brother. Right? You don't want to wander into a bad neighborhood when you're trading, right? Shorting at the lows, buying at the highs. You know, that's when they steal your wallet and your Rolex and you end up getting thrown in a dumpster. Right? So we have single prints here between 69.06 3/4 to 8 half. Now these single prints are a market profile phenomenon. And what they do is they separate two distributions. Right? The separation is caused by people who were using that high as a stop when they were short, or that high, right? They get trapped. So when the market comes down, they put their buy orders in here, right? Oh, hey, spam. You know, um, let me see. My chart book is in the. Yeah, no problem. If you ever have any questions, just reach out. Exactly. Google Earth is the market profile. Google Maps is that 1 minute, right? Candle wax, right? It just helps you kind of navigate the neighborhood. Like, you don't want to end up. Where's that place that we were at? The Swindon bus station. That's a rough place. You don't want to end up there. Oh, sorry. Alrighty. Oh. See how the market comes down to that 69.08 and it kind of stops? Because there's bids underneath. Oh, so now they filled them. It's a little bit of selling competition. Let's see if we hold 7 3/4. So my balance levels are 95 3/4 to 99 3/4. Double them to 7 3/4. Let's see how good they work this morning. Do we find a bid somewhere here, or do we just backfill this whole thing? A little bit of a bid, right? We caught a bid. They left two single prints. Now, I don't know how long those prints are going to last. Let's see. So folks, like we were talking about yesterday, you could see where the sellers step in, right? The tops of the candles, right? They start going down. That's why you guys get that trend line down. That's what causes trend, right? You get trend up because the offer is moving up. You get trend down because the offer is moving down, right? So that's cool. I mean, if now this isn't an A plus setup, but what you do is if you see this and you short this, that's your warning level, that's your stop, and then you put some bids down here. So say if you're short 10, 10 and a half, you know, you could put some bids down here at 7.5, 8, and see if you get a fill. It's not a lot of meat on the bone, but if you're testing the market, that's what you would do this morning. Now let's see if this is a look below and fail. Because usually what happens in these markets is you get that look below and fail, right? What the look below and fail, if you guys want like some kind of real world explanation of it, the sell orders come and we come down here and we find some buyers. When we find those buyers, we raise price because, and the trade that we try and take is we'll try and buy 8.5, 8.75, and stop out at 7.5, 7.75 if it holds. Now you know there's going to be a seller here, right? If you're going long, you know that there's going to be a seller there because they were there before. So you want to go and put a sell order at maybe 10.25 if you're long like 69.08, 88 on 2 micros like I am, right? Where I dialed in. And I've got a 10.25 offer and a 10 offer. And I'm just testing the market to see whether or not that offer is going to lift. Now, if that offer starts moving lower, I know that my trade's not going to work. Right? See how it's very slow. And what I'm doing is I'm trading a distribution. Now, distribution is not exactly when it's slow, right? There's not a lot of follow through. Now, I didn't check tonight to see whether or not is there a margin increase tonight? I didn't check. What's our news coming up today? Today is Thursday, so we got jobless claims at 8:30. So we might have. Do we have higher margin? I don't think so. It's just a slow day. Let's see. Can I get a sell at 10? I'm long 6908.88 on 2 micros. I'm offered at 10 and 10.25 because I know that there's a seller here. I should actually put both of my offers at 10. Let's see if I can get a fill at 10. We're creeping. We're slowly creeping up, right? Slowly creeping up. And thanks, Baran. Let's see. This thing's moving like that little old lady in the Blake Edwards movies. So the offer is, it came up here to 9.75, but they're not getting any love at 9.75. So my 10 offer, I'm going to move that down to 9.75 and see if I can get a print. And I'll move the 10.25 down to 10. And this is the first trade I've taken this morning. It's a look below and fail of 7 3/4. Let's see what kind of order flow we get. Now, this trade is completely dependent on who comes into the store. If we get buyers, they'll raise price and I'll get taken out of my long, right? If not, they're going to have to lower price all the way back down to 7 3/4 and I'll get stopped out, right? But that's how we test order flow. So I'm willing to spend 10, $15 to see, because trading on the sim is one thing, right? And we encourage you to trade on the sim so you learn the software and you get quick. But the micro is great because you get to stick your fingers in the dirt and feel around and see what that order flow is like. Because the fills on the sim versus the fills in real life are going to be two completely different things. Sierra Chart has a great simulator, but nothing can actually mimic the real order flow. Well, maybe with AI now they can. I don't know. Maybe I'm misspeaking. We'll have to get the 0 and 1 Mafia to chime in on that. Goodness, it is slow. Can we get somebody to buy it at 9? Right? So far they won't buy it at 9 yet, right? Come on, somebody take the offer. Ah, there we go. We got a 9 buyer. Woohoo! Question, where the white line is, the seller. Why not put the line to the previous candle? Does it have something to do with size? What do you mean previous candle? Oh, I should actually have the lines here. You see? There you go. Now we know that there's a seller here at 9 3/4, right? Because it goes up to 9 3/4 and nobody wants to buy 9 3/4. Do you understand what I'm saying? Hey, Fazro, how you doing? So the sellers were here, they moved down here, then they moved down here, and now they're currently here. Does that help you understand, Redcom? And all those sellers are size sellers. That's why they're moving price down. Oh, let's see. 9 3/4. Can I sell one at 9 3/4? They're not taking me. There's competition. Where's VWAP? Oh, it's all the way down here at 68.97. So it's not a factor right now. Yeah, this doesn't look like it's going to work. Right? It's too much competition in selling. So now, had I been a little bit quicker, I should have moved down and I should have gotten out here. I should have scratched that trade. I got stopped out. Okay. So VWAP's all the way down here. See? And we are distributing above VWAP. Hey, Terrence. How you doing? So I could have scratched that trade and at least covered commission, which I should have done. Right? So now I know that I'm not really as sharp as I should be. And there's a few bids between 6 3/4 and 7. Ooh. Now, a lot of people are going to be tempted to short this now because you know that there's a seller, right? Those bids at 6 3/4, 7 are a pain in the butt. Hey, Ian, how you doing? Because of the lack of follow through, I might have to just chill out a little bit here. When does inventory start becoming overhanging supply? When they start selling and they start lowering the offer. The offer, Terrence, is everything. And I'll tell you why the offer is everything. See, in the old days when we used to ride horses to work, right? See, now that seller is down underneath 7 3/4. But there's still one pesky single print left. So in the old days, right, when I was selling stock for my clients, right? So my clients would take a company public and there'd be maybe 4 partners or 5 partners, 5 or 6 guys who finance the deal, right? And they all have stock, but they all have their stock with different traders. They don't all have their stock with me, right? So when you take a company public, you have a gentleman's agreement amongst the people who finance the company, and to not to backdoor each other, which means we all sell at the same time, right? But when you give somebody 20, 30 million shares of stock and they paid half a penny for it and the stock's trading at $4, it's pretty tempting to sell some, right? So I'll be low offer on the level 2 or the order book. And as soon as somebody comes in and offers underneath me, I know, aha, right? One of these bastards is trying to undercut and get out. That's why you watch the offer. And in the old days, every say if you had your stock at, for example, E-Trade or Schwab or Fidelity, those orders would go to Knight Securities, right? So if Knight came low offer, I knew, aha, we got a rat, right? Because I always want to be low offer. I got to be the lowest offer. Because if you're coming, you're buying from me. Otherwise, someone's trying to squeeze us out. The offer is everything. The offer sets the price according to the buyers that are coming into the store. See what I mean? Exactly. They go $1, I go 95 cents. They go 95 cents, I go 90 cents. Nice work, Cisco. Nice work. So we filled those single prints. Inventory is adjusting lower, right? Nice trade. I'm looking for some bids just here. right? As we come into the threes, where we took the high of G and H period, there should be some bids just down here. So I always take a few test trades. My first trades are always test trades. I use the micro, and you could see that when I was long here at 8 and change, I should have been out. When it came up to 9 3/4 and it couldn't take it, I should have scratched up here. So I can tell that my execution is not, it's not that great tonight, right? Or this morning, right? How can you watch the offer? Do you see this red line and this green line? George? Do you see the red line and the green line if you're watching my screen? If you go to chart study, it's called current bid ask lines. The red line is the ask or the offer. Very simple. So you don't need a level 2, you don't need an order book. All you got to do is watch the red line. You know, like they say, watch the birdie, right? Right? When the red line's moving up, it means the sellers have seen buyers and they're raising price. When the red line's moving down, it means they're putting it on sale. How simple is that? Does that make sense? See, what you're doing is this candle chart is this. Check it out. See, in the old days, right, we'd sit there and we'd watch this. And you'd zone into this right here. The ask. And you'd go 6 offers, 5 3/4, right? 5 3/4. So if the offer's moving down and you're short here, see how now it's 5 1/2, 5 3/4, 5 1/4. The offer is moving lower, right? That is the same as that. All the chart is a graphical representation of the time in sales. But it's easier for you to see because it's easier on the eyes to see that. Do you guys understand that? Right? So it's really simple. So when that ask is lowering, it means that they're putting the crap on sale. When the ask starts moving up, now here comes London. Right? Watch that 5 3/4, 5 1/2, 5 3/4, 5 1/2, 5 1/4, 5 1/2, 5 3/4, 5 1/2, 5 1/4, 5 1/2, 6, 5 3/4, 6. Right? So there's a little bit of buying there. You can see the offers moving up and down. Right? You're overthinking it, George. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? You're overthinking it. And I understand a lot of retail traders, they're overthinking it because they don't understand the business. Just watch the red line and to hell with the rest of the candle. Okay? And when the top of the candles start going lower, that means the offer, the price is being put on sale. Do you understand that concept? Say, George, you have 5,000 contracts, right? And you're selling at 6, and I come and I undercut your price. Then you're holding inventory that's tying up your capital. So you better price compete, otherwise you're going to lose all your money. Does that make sense? Think like a seller. Think like a merchant. Don't think like a retail trader. Right? Don't overcomplicate it. Right? Do you see? Now it's offered at 3 3/4, 4. Right? So the price is being put on sale. Remember, George, it's a market. Don't overcomplicate this stuff. Right? With the low of a weekly high or a monthly high, yeah, those are swing highs, Terrence. Nice trade, Cisco. Well done. You covered right where you should. Beautiful at 3 and change. So George, do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make your life simple. The reality is you just watch the offer. Pick a level and watch the offer. For example, look at 5 3/4, and you can see the top of those candles are there. Now watch 3 3/4. Watch if the offer comes underneath 3 3/4. Do you understand what I'm saying? Don't worry about the candle. Just watch the red line. Right? It'll take a while because it's so simple for your brain to process. And you guys are expecting some complex thing because all trading rooms try and baffle you with their bullshit. So they get you guys all wrapped up in all sorts of crazy shit and get you all upside down. Right? The simplicity of this is what screws you guys up. But if you think that markets have been around for thousands of years, how did people trade without candles, without all of that stuff? They watch the offer. Right? You don't go long when the offer is moving lower. Do you guys get what I'm saying? You don't go short when the offer is moving higher because they're raising price. It's that simple. And the simplicity is what's screwing you guys up because you've been conditioned and brainwashed into thinking that trading, you need this indicator, or you need that, or you need confluence and flatulence and cross-pollination and all sorts of bullshit, when all you have to do is find out where the sellers are. Right? You still there, George, or you gone? You've gone radio silent. Right? Simplify your life. Cisco shorted the market because he saw the offer moving lower. We came into an area where the other buyers would be, and he covered. All you got to do is just find out where the sellers are, and if they're selling and putting price on sale, go short. Right? You just want to go short at an area where there's an edge. You don't want to go short in the middle of a zone. That's why I have these colored zones. Right? So it's simple for you guys, right? You go short when it goes from purple, right? When it goes from purple back down to green, offer. So what I should have been doing, I should have been shorting the 6s and 7s, stop here, covering down here in the 3s, right? Because I screwed up this trade, right? So, and when you go long, we do the look below and fail. It goes from green into blue, back into green, right? Here we went from purple into green, back into purple, right? It's color-coded, so, it's simple, right? I have made this as simple as possible, but the problem is the simplicity confuses people, right? Because they're looking for the magic beans, right? They're looking for the Holy Grail. And when you tell them it's simple, it causes their brain to have a short circuit. We used to always say back in the day, if the general public really knew what the hell we're doing, they'd line us all up and shoot us. And to this day, even with the information age and the internet, people still don't know how markets work. Right? They think there's some magic algo that runs the market. They think that they just have all these crazy ideas, but they still don't understand commerce. It's basic commerce. Yeah, the sellers, brother, the sellers, and you go into a market, right, George? Like if you go to Walmart, are you in control or is Walmart in control? You can elect not to buy, right? Hey, Dave, what's up, brother? But Walmart will lower price if Costco lowers price, right? They got to price compete. They hold the inventory. So if you really want that flat screen TV, right? Exactly. There's a clip on YouTube from there was a TV series on Netflix, and it was a little dark. It was called The House of Usher, and I'm gonna see if I can put this link in here. And you guys really should watch this because this is how we are taught to think. We are not taught to think like retail people. We are taught to think like sellers. Once again, two-way auction, who cares? It's confusing because you're making it confusing, right? Here's the trick, George, right? And everyone else. You grab a bunch of cheap crap and you sell it for a profit. When people get sick of buying it, you put it on sale. And sometimes you got to put it on sale under where you bought it and take a loss. That's how business works, right? You understand? Sometimes you have to sell your inventory at a loss. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck holding a steaming big pile of manure, right? You have to think like a seller. Watch that clip on YouTube, and it'll teach you how we are trained. You know, I have never bought stock in my entire life. I have never paid for stock in my entire life. It's always been given to me for free for working on deals. So we don't think like you guys. When I look at a company and I look at, if a company traded 5 million shares that day or 10 million shares, I think, okay, I could have sold 2 or 3 million shares into that buying. That's how I think. I don't think, oh, I should buy this and maybe it'll go up and I can make some money. I am trained to think like a distributor, not like a retail buyer. Beautiful trade, Dano. Beautiful. Right? We are conditioned to think like, how can we get you to buy 1 million shares? It's not manipulation, AO. It's business. Has nothing to do with manipulation. People call it manipulation when they don't understand the business. Anything that people don't understand, they always say, oh, it's rigged, it's manipulation, blah, blah, blah. Right? It's not manipulation. It's work. Right? If you're selling oranges, are you manipulating the price of oranges? No, man, you're just trying to sell your oranges. Right? Here we're just trying to sell contracts. If you worked in the business, you would understand that it's not manipulation. Right? Manipulation is an overused word, and it just shows lack of understanding of business. It's a simple business. That's why they call it a market. Yeah, we're just trying to make a buck. Right? Well, how else are you going to sell your product, AO? No, I'm starting to think you're a communist. Like Danny DeVito and other people's money. What are you, a communist? Right? It's a market, folks. Did you ever Google what a market is? That's why they call it a market. That's why they don't call it a hot tub. Right? Right? They don't call it a hot tub. They don't call it a souffle. It's a market. Right? A market is where you take your goods to sell them. Get it? It's not manipulation. Right? When you go to Walmart and you buy bread, right? You go to market and you buy bread. Is that manipulation? No, it's just a business transaction. Right? Now we're going to come back down to that 6903. Right? It's just work. Right? It's just work. Yeah, that's a little fucked up, Ayo. All right. That's a little messed up. As the penguin would say, brother, you're a little ACDC. You're a little ACDC. That's okay. You know, let your freak flag fly, right? Oh, that's okay. We appreciate your honesty. Oh, man. Thanks for the laugh. Oh, man. So we've got sellers up here at 9, 7, kind of back and forth, a little choppy. We're still in distribution. I'm looking for this point of control, which is 1,400 contracts, to move up here. You can see some good distribution. Until then, we're just going to go back and forth here and get rid of what we bought cheap in the early part of the evening, you see? Right, so here's our inventory, and we're selling it here. Right, it's just a market. That's all it is. Right, so if you want to learn how to trade, get rid of the conspiracy theories, clean your brain out, actually make a buck, come into our trading room. We'll teach you, right? We are the best price trading room where you'll actually learn something, right? You can't do better than 20 bucks. Oh boy, oh boy. Exactly, right? Catching some more bids. All right, we found buyers. Mm-hmm. All righty, folks. What else have we got going on here? How's the coin of bitterness this morning? 67,000. Huh. Still flushing out this Bitcoin, Ethereum, all this stuff needs a good flush. Build a new cost basis. So a little sideways movement. Now, if we've built up enough shorts here, if enough people are short underneath 6, and then added to it here, what's going to happen is we're going to go take out these upper levels. and your target will be 14. But we need the order flow to do it, right? We need the order flow to do it. Yeah, so the sellers here are 10. Not much going on. If you can catch some of these trades, good, but after I get off here, I'll go to the gym. Wait for a little bit more follow through. £50,000, yes. I was quoting US dollars, brother. See, a little bit of short covering pushes price up, right? But the thing with these markets is when they flush back and forth, what happens is two things. One is you flush out all the people who are long, and then you trap people short down here. And that's why you get those moves up. That's very common in markets where you have limited supply, right? And if you folks are wondering why markets have limited supply, see, I told you, right? Markets have limited supply because they're structured to have limited supply. I've done a video on it. It's on my YouTube channel. Go check it out. Do you ever wonder why after a liquidation we always go and put in new highs? We do a massive liquidation. Everybody thinks the world is ending. But then if you check the positions of BlackRock, Fidelity, State Street, none of that paper moved. Right? That's why people are like, oh, the sky is falling. Well, did you see 400 million shares of Microsoft or 500 million shares of Apple trade yesterday? No, it traded 40 million shares. Well, then the sky is not falling. When you see 400 million shares of Apple go across the tape, then you know you got to be a little nervous, right? Right. The leader stocks trade less than 1% of their float. Most of that stock is locked up by size money managers who are trillion-dollar institutions, and they paid for that stock in cash. So they don't have Guido the bookie coming and going margin call, margin call. That stock is paid for in cash. It's like buying your house for cash, buying your car for cash. Nobody can repo it, right? That's why after COVID we had that huge bounce. Because every time we have a sell-off, what they do is they take out all the margin players, right? Everybody who borrowed money to buy stock, they get taken out. And the people who bought stock with cash, Just buy a little bit more. Slow night, slow distribution. Any questions? You guys still awake? Heading into the weekend, weeks after these short weeks, they always seem a little longer. What's Battlefield 6? Is a video game? Cool. You do that, brother. Have a good morning. And I'll let you guys go a little early. It is slow as hell. And we need to move 1,400, was it 1,404 contracts, and we still haven't cracked. Oh, there's 500 here, 500 here. We still need to put some size up here to move that point of control up. So I'm going to let you guys go before you fall asleep. Thank you for being with me this morning. Come to the Trading Syndicate if you are struggling, or if you want to level up your trading. Say you're making 1,000 a day, you want to make 5 grand a day. Come in, we'll teach you how to trade size. We'll teach you how to trade if you're new. We'll teach you how to trade if you're having problems. Right? If you're tired of blowing up accounts, if you're tired of missing trades, if you're tired of trading at the wrong time, right? If you're having trouble with all these psychological concepts like FOMO and revenge trading and all that stuff, come visit us and we will cure you of your ills. Okay? Have a wonderful morning. Thank you, folks. And we will see you at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. in the UK, 3 p.m. in Europe for the 9 o'clock open. I have to run to the cardiologist this afternoon, so the session this afternoon is going to be a little shorter. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful morning. Don't take candy from strange market makers, and we'll see you in a few hours. Appreciate you guys. Bye for now.